Asteroid of fear.
Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And here goes nothing. Here we go. We are going to call this Unfiltered Friday. So I finally come up with a name, kind of thought I how thought of how I wanted to design episodes, etc. going forward, kind of what I like. Um, Imitation is the highest form of flattery. And, you know, what? Yeah. So I released a guest episode on Monday, and on Fridays will be Unfiltered Fridays, which will probably be me blabbing, me running my suck. So you're gonna have to listen to yours truly, et moi. Yeah. So on that note, it's very similar to one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. I've been listening to probably since maybe 2017. I don't know if that's when it started, but that is Cleared Hot with Andy Stumpf. And he usually does a guest episode on Monday and then usually a full auto Friday, negligent discharge Friday, depending on how many people he's got um, going. But his full auto Fridays were kind of a solo thing. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm grateful to actually be here recording this because, man, I got all geared up, got set up, got mentally ready, which is the most important part. Did my vocal exercises like, with a vocal coach, warming up. Just kidding. I don't take it that serious. However, and I'm actually recording this on a Wednesday, and Zoom is down, or Zoom was down for about an hour, maybe more. So yeah, got everything set up and was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to pivot. What else can I do? Thankfully, it didn't last long, which means my mind didn't drift too far. I didn't get totally out of the mood of recording because I don't want to say necessarily have to be in a mood, but everything is just right. Everybody's out of the house. People are at school. People are at work. Mom's got jury duty all week and next week. Can't really discuss the case, but I can tell you she's doing her civic duty. Um, she doesn't necessarily like it because it's horrible to sit there and see what humans are capable towards one another. And this will tie into the episode as it relates overall, because this is Good Friday, after all. Um, but to her, it is important that the victim's family receives a level of justice. What's right? And I say that a lot. What's right never goes out of style. So it is kind of one of those kinds of cases. I don't know the details. If you've ever been on a jury, even been to selection, you're told you cannot discuss it. So she has not discussed it, in case anyone's wondering, because my mom is by the rules, 100%. I don't know of her ever to be a rule breaker. Maybe that's why I am. And, oh, I had to make sure I was recording. Had a little brain fart there. But, yeah, she said she'd rather be working. So that kind of says a lot. Um, but it is a serious case. And I don't think I've ever, it's been a while since I've seen my mom, maybe with that tone, level of expression, level of concern. I could tell that it truly has had an impact on her, which I think is good in a way. Only because the way I relate to my mom, my mom's a very business forward, not very loving, caring, showing kind of person. As it comes to show, I know she does. And so I guess seeing that emotion come out of her was that showing, I know. that even maybe sometimes when she doesn't show emotion, that she does feel. She is about justice. She is about what's right. That's probably where I get it from, you know, because I know her dad was the same way. My grandfather, as we go back to my story where the moment of truth in the Navy, if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it in my journey episodes. And, you know, always tell the truth. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. But outside of that, you know, it's been an interesting day. I had somebody come to visit the neighbor. They were here for to do something like, you know, fix something, a Shurian, fix a cell phone, and he arrived here, but they live up the hill, which on 12 acres is, you know, if you know, you know. You have to cross the creek, use a separate driveway, all kinds of different jazz. But you know, I had heard something, or the dog was making a little commotion, and I knew nobody is expected to be here, and especially, you know, it's private property, no trespassing, do not enter private driveway, eighth of a mile. You make it down here, it's your own fault. If you ignore warnings and something happens. But yeah, needless to say, I met him before he could even, you know, approach. So it's kind of one of those things to think about consideration that if, you know, if you pull up to somebody's house and they meet you before you're able to make it to the door, there's a good chance you probably shouldn't be there. So keep that in mind. And it is so weird. I keep hearing what sounds almost like a landline ringing. I've even taken my headphones off. Um, you know, nothing's ringing anywhere else is kind of driving me bananas, almost like tinnitus. And similarly, I had something like this earlier, and I kept hearing this noise, and it was complete silent. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from, and stuck in between like two of my wife's bags somewhere is a this little portable fan. You know, these cool little plastic fans they have now, and they have a little hook on the bottom. You can hang them up outside or hang them on something. It's got a little remote. I have some pictures in my IG, maybe when I was Ubering this summer and the AC was out on my car, and I would have that little fan blowing on me. And we take them, and my wife likes to take them. It's nearing summertime, and you know, with summertime comes heat, and she does a lot of stuff for elderly people, and they keep it hot on top of hot. So oftentimes she'll have these little, you know, you just charge them like you would your phone, and she carries them around with her. Hence why they were near her bag. But yeah, it was blowing and making a little rattling noise because it's kind of one of those shopping bags. I don't know if you remember when that whole grocery stores were going to just stop giving bags. And I don't know if it's still that way in Austin. And you got to bring your own bags. I keep mine in my trunk, like for Sprouts and stuff. Oftentimes I forget them, or Aldi. But I have them. And if I'm only grabbing a few things, I'll remember if it's more than a lot of things, but I can just hand carry it and then I'll bag it up. And I keep a cooler in my car because, of course, I was an Uber driver. Every good Uber driver needs a cooler. And with our traveling, me being a foodie, running in, you know, if I'm going to pass an HEB, a Trader Joe's, a Whole Foods, and see something I might want, then never hurts to have a cooler. But hell, we're approaching summertime in Texas, and you're going to need a cooler just even if the grocery store's 10 minutes away, because it's going to be ice cream ain't going to make it. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, that's kind of how I started my day. I slept a solid 9 hours, which still didn't produce a 100% sleep score because I was at a deficit from sleeping like 2 hours and change for 2 or 3 days in a row. No bueno. You know me, I am an insomniac. I push it, push it, push it, and then I have to hibernate and still working to find something that's way more consistent. So got a little late start, moving slow. After I met the gentleman in the front yard, I went ahead and decided I would go get my exercise in and went for a little walk. And um, today I didn't wear over the ear headphones, which I normally wear. I have these new things my wife bought. I know I've talked about it before. Um, my wife likes to go to those like crazy hot deals where I guess they're pallets of Amazon things, and she finds good deals. And she found these. They're $149 normally. They're called Nothing headphones. They're like little earbuds, and they hook over your ear similarly to like Beats. You know, when they were doing that, and they had the little tassel, and but instead of the bud going in the actual ear, it just kind of lays on top. So for people who have issues, I know if I wear my earbuds too much, too many days in a row, my ears will hurt, especially if I'm listening to a podcast or a book while I fall asleep. They'll often press into my ear and they'll be sore the next morning. And these don't do that. And sometimes you almost forget that you even have them on because they're so lightweight. And they're kind of also this option of they do kind of have a way where, like with an earbud, oftentimes, like let's say my wife and I are driving, which we're going to be traveling. Hence why I'm doing this Wednesday because it's coming up Good Friday when you're hearing this, and I'm going to be going out of town to visit family. Because if you guys remember, I did not get to spend Thanksgiving or Christmas with family because I was watching Buck, and that's okay. But I'm getting my chance now. I'm going to get to go see everyone. However, when we drive, I typically, my wife does her thing, my daughter does her thing, and I'm listening to a podcast always. Um, and when my wife starts talking, sometimes I'm like, I never know. Are you talking to me? You know, she talks to herself. Probably should have known that before we got married. Just kidding, babe. But the, a lot of times I'll like have to pause, take it off, be like, were you talking to me? She's like, no, I'm talking to myself. But these nothing ones, they kind of, I wouldn't have to necessarily take them off. I can have them at a certain volume that I can still kind of hear. Like, I mean, I was making food, making meatloaf and chopping vegetables and stuff last week and had them on while I was talking to my mom, and I could kind of hear, a little light background music, but also understand, have a conversation. I can scratch my back here. Yeah, the old Stanley hit the boom mic. Sorry about that. Yeah, I like these earbuds, and so I have them on. I'm going for my walk today, and I'm kind of glad I had them on. And as I round this one corner out in the sticks, I hear what sounds like rustling, running. Um, I do not know what it is, do not know what it was, but you know, it was on my side because I walk. It's still back roads, but I walk oncoming traffic, so I can move to the left. And man, I had to cross the street actually. Heart rate went up, took off, switched the Stanley. Thankfully, I had it in the right hand. I could belt whatever this was. I mean, we have deer, we have bobcats, um, supposedly maybe mountain lions. People have seen like they've caught them on trail cams, I think, deer cams. I know my uncle killed a bobcat, and so yeah, I was like, oh fuck, what? Oh boy, here we go. Out in the middle of nowhere, no one's around, no one can help you, and it started reminding me, hey, it's springtime. If we're not having these cold mornings anymore, everything's going to start to come out. On Facebook, I love to follow Texas identification, snake identification, and you're getting seeing tons of pictures. All the snakes are coming out. It's that time of year, and so I'm definitely trying to keep my eyes peeled as I walk. You know, have to navigate the eighth of a mile dirt road. And then when they're doing some construction up the road, our neighbor, he was making entrances and uh, selling pieces of his property, doing some different things. And, he killed two coral snakes last summer. So, yeah, here we are. I'm like sitting here going, I guess, got to keep my eyes peeled. Now my ears. But because I had those headphones on, I could actually hear it. And I continued to walk once I figured out it's probably running away and just as scared, hopefully, of me as I was of it. But I did remember, on the way back when I had to walk past it, I definitely paused the podcast, made sure I had my Stanley in my right arm. I could swing it if I had to. But yeah, I used to walk with, and now I may have to. I gotta find my pepper spray, and I have a nightstick. And so when I would walk out in the sticks, back roads, there's dogs. Um, because I know there's usually it's my turnaround place. I don't usually go past there now, um, even though I should. But these dogs would like to chase me, and I would just keep walking and try to show no fear. And typically, they never attacked me, but one got awfully close one time. And, there's one that's a real asshole dog, the instigator, and then two that are kind of mild. But, you know, owner, if you hear this, just fucking take care of your dogs. And that goes for anyone. If your dogs don't mind, if you can't take care of your dogs, then control them. Like keep them locked up so they cannot chase people. How about that? How about that for a fucking concept? If you own a gun, you got to be responsible. If you have a motorcycle, you got to take a safety course. If you have dogs, don't be an asshole. Just train your dog, be able to control them. Um, for the safety of others. I mean, I want to get my exercise, but there's older people who walk these roads, younger people, you know, forget about me. I'm 48. I'll be okay. I'm in decent shape. But what if there's an older woman who can't defend herself, and you let that happen because you're lazy, unaware, unthoughtful, don't care, entitled. I don't know what you want to call it, but that might mean it's time to, you know, start with carrying the nightstick again and the pepper spray. And the shitty thing is, the guy would know I'm carrying that. It's like, I mean, if your dog comes at me, I'm gonna pepper spray it and hit it with a nightstick, and then you're gonna be mad at me and probably blame me, but it's really your fault because you aren't a responsible pet owner. How about that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do have a pistol, but I purposely don't carry it because I don't want to shoot your dog. I don't want to shoot anyone's dog. I have dogs. Nobody would want that. I wouldn't want it done to my dog. But then again, even though we live on 12 acres, I still take my dog out on a leash because I don't want her running off. Because sometimes she doesn't want to mind. And she wants to wander off and follow the scent to bigger dogs that aren't as friendly. So, yeah, that was a little bit what I had going on this morning. I wrote down something else. Let me see. Don the old spectacles here. Yeah, my fucking favorite. Sorry about the F bomb, especially if you got kids. Oh, but it was for emphasis. Sometimes there is a time for the F bomb. And it's not all the time. Job scams. Now, I do odd things. If you've listened to the podcast, I Uber, I take care of people, um, yada, yada, yada. Always looking for a interesting opportunity, I guess you could say, or a right opportunity that's whether it's aligned, that's flexible, provides what I need, I can do it. And, lately I've been getting, I don't know if it's like I'll get a text or a WhatsApp like, hey, I have this thing. Are you interested? Like kind of work from home. You can, what is it? Make this amount of money doing this, like being maybe an Amazon affiliate. Um, but it's usually something online, something, the little TikTok and IG ads of the person who's pretending to be a millionaire and they have everything you need and they can tell you exactly how to do it, yet they're posting it from their little one bedroom when they should be in a mansion if it's really that lucrative. They're just middle people. There's something in it for them to get you to click, which is kind of the point. The thing is like I would get texts, I would get a WhatsApp like, "Hey, do you want to work like what is it? Like cross bridge or something TikTok cross border TikTok shop, using like a TikTok business app." And I'm sure there's some legit stuff, selling for the TikTok shop and doing this or that, the other. And they send me stuff all the time. You're eligible for this, you're eligible for that, lead subscriptions, etc. But nothing ever with this. And, you know, this person reaches out to me and they can't really tell me, well, I'm just like the secretary type person and I just give your information to a recruiter. I'm like, okay, fine, send it over. But actually, there was one that I just didn't answer. I think I might have even, I didn't tell her I wasn't interested, but I just didn't reply. And then I blocked and deleted. And then, like, whoever else it was, whoever the recruiter was, sent me a message like, oh, are you interested? And I was like, well, I just don't know. There's too many scams out there. And they were like, oh, yeah, you got to be careful. I'm like, yeah, you're probably the scammer and sending me all this stuff and trying to tell me, answering my questions. And I'm like, realistically, nobody's paying anybody $600 a week to work 30 minutes a day. I just don't have a master's degree. That was not the rate the hospital gave me. No, you had to work fucking 8 hours if you want to make any money. I mean, the amount of time I put into podcasting and everything that goes around it, be it finding guests, editing, trying to find coaching clients, engaging on social media, like it's way more than fucking 30 minutes a day. And what I've made from it in total, over almost 2 years, you know, let's say $300, I've spent way more than I've made. So if anybody out there thinks that, yeah, I'm making money off your interview or anything like that, it not true. It's not factual. I'm in the beginning stages. I'm still, as Scotty G would say, I'm paying to play, you know. But I love it. And yeah. And I'm grateful and thankful to have supportive people in my life that allow me to do this and pay for it, and use my money to pay for it or even help me pay for it. Whether it's a year subscription to Zoom, you got Calendly, you got to have stuff. Hey, CapCut, got to have your editing. So, hey guys, quick break, but this one's important. If you're tired of setting goals that never leave the Notes app or you're feeling stuck in the same cycle, let's change that. Accountability isn't about pressure, it's about partnership.
I offer one on one accountability coaching for those who are ready to show up, not just for their goals, but for themselves, their families, and their purpose. Whether you're working on discipline, building better habits, or simply trying to stay consistent, I got you. No fluff, no judgment, just real conversations and real progress. If that sounds like something you need, hit the link in the show notes and let's connect. All right, back to the episode.
But yeah, you do get paid through Podmatch for doing some interviews, and that's where I've made some of my money, and I'm grateful for that. At least I get to make some money doing it. But it's not a ton, just not at that level yet. So back into jobs, nothing, I don't know what she said. And I just was like, I didn't reply for a couple of days. And then today she hits me back up and was like, so, like, what's the verdict? Are you still interested? And I was like, no, thanks, I'll pass. But then she comes back with this, like, kind of like, what do you mean? Like, because I was like, oh, I'm focusing my efforts elsewhere. I'll pass. I'm focusing my efforts elsewhere. This is what I want to be doing. This is what I want the future to be, podcasting and coaching. So this is where I invest my efforts. And I didn't give her all that. I just said I'm investing my efforts elsewhere. And she comes back with kind of like a, are you crazy? Like you can do this in between. Like it takes so little time. And I just had this thought of like, are you fucking like, if I was concerned that it was a scam, now my radar, my antenna is even higher because it's like, look at the world and the state of affairs of the world. It's fucking nuts. It's fucking crazy. This person is just so good hearted. She cares about me having this job that I can make so much money for so little time that she's pushing for it. Oh my God, how could I be so stupid to let this opportunity pass me by? She's advocating for me. Oh my gosh. She doesn't even know me. Has nothing. She's not in my contacts. She's got a San Antonio area code, that I know. Um, what's in it for her? That's the question. Why is she pushing so hard? There's something in it for her. Whether it's access to all my information that she can sell, whether it's for me to click or download something and she can take control of my phone and control my life and siphon my money out. And yeah. So what's in it for them? Think about that. Next time somebody's offering you something, propositioning you with something, I mean, unless you know who they are and you know their character and you know they're in your corner and they want to see you win, because sometimes even your family is not going to want to see you win. And this is all going to tie in, by the way. Um, you know, I trust my coach. There's a handful of people I trust. You guys know who you are. You're the people I reach out to and ask for advice. Or when I'm struggling, I reach out to you. I feel like you have my best interests in mind. You'll tell me if you like it, if you don't. Now, if you guys were sitting there telling me if you guys came to me with an opportunity, like, because you know what I'm about, and you know that time freedom, freedom of movement, being able to be the husband and father I want to be, and son, take my dad to appointments and do all that, and you know what I'm about, and you're like, man, this opportunity, like, this is for you. Don't pass it up. Then I believe it. Because what's in it for you is you get to see somebody you care about, a friend, succeed, which is kind of the same way I would feel about you guys I'm talking about. But also, that's who I am. I mean, even as a manager, when I was, I would always tell people my job is to help you get where you want to go. I mean, if you want to be an LVN at the clinic for till you retire, then great. If you want to transfer to an RN program and eventually become a nurse practitioner, then let me help you get there. All I ask is that you give 100% while you're here. You put it in while you're here. You leave it all out here because I'm going to be the one writing your recommendations, or maybe I can connect you, or, but that's with anything. That's why when you show up, you show up. You do a good job, whether you're taking out the trash, a fry cook, a nurse, doesn't matter, you know? But yeah, uh, it's like and my wife knows she's gullible. That's why she's with me, and I get to protect that. And, she gets some of the same stuff too. And, whether she's always looking for leads for her stuff, or sometimes she wants me, she looks at these opportunities for me like, hey, babe, this might be a good opportunity. But, you know, she's just a little more gullible. And, like, I try to connect dots and put things together, and I could be totally full of shit. I could be what some could be called a conspiracy theorist, maybe. But hey, to me, logically thinking, it's like I think I read an article the other day where unemployment is the highest it's been in a while. It's like COVID rates. I mean, Donald Trump's come in and cut all the VA jobs. We've talked about that. You take all these things happening, it's tax time. People know that they got, you know, hackers and criminals know that, oh, people are filing taxes, they got money coming in. If I can get control of their phone, I can get control of their bank. Um, oh, unemployment's back to like COVID levels. People are desperate. I'm not desperate, but sometimes I get moments of desperation where, I feel like, hey, man, I need to find something so I can contribute more. But, there's people in all kinds of situations. And these people will play on that desperation and think, make you think like, oh, man, this opportunity just landed right for me. God must be looking out for me. Be careful. Does it make sense? Is it too good to be true? You know, is it like, these people kept on like, well, if you do these trainings or whatever, then you'll get like $80 and then more and more. And, you can, I research it, and there's threads and Reddits and all kinds of stuff out there of, hey, yeah, you may get like paid for 3 trainings or something. Then they might ask you for like a small investment, or you got to pay for the final training and who knows what. But, data's a commodity. It's something because there's just nobody out there doing that much good. If if they were, it'd be from a reputable source, you know. And this one, of course, they're selling TikTok. What they try to tell me, TikTok is a reputable business, and they wouldn't throw out offers that would tarnish their name or credibility or some shit. I'm like, really? Man, my back is itching. Really? Okay. Yeah, the app from China. Uh, what are we to do other than look out for one another and fucking be careful and keep your head on a swivel? Yeah, that's about the size of it. be aware. But on to the kind of uh, what I really wanted to talk about. Some things I've been thinking about and pieces I've been putting together lately. And it's Good Friday, and we're going to be coming up on Easter Sunday. And it means different things to different people, and, how we celebrate it, and kind of what we give to it, Easter bunnies and candy. And uh, probably tell by the tone of my voice that the depiction is far away from the meaning. Um, but we do that. But we're not going to do that here at the Men of the House. No. So let's bring it into focus. Let's talk about Good Friday and Easter Sunday. And let's give it a more spiritual, centric, kind of personal relation. Let's take the chocolates and bunny rabbits out of it. And, some of this comes from questions I've been asked lately of, maybe how I felt about somebody, or, somebody that impacted my life in a negative way, or maybe somebody who, maybe like a parent who's like, you've turned out the way you have. Maybe you think the way you do. You have some of the beliefs you have and core wounds you have because of um, how the people who raised you were towards you. And sometimes it's an awareness and you get upset. And, you know, for those of you who've heard my story and listened to it, and there was a period in time where I didn't speak to my father for 10 years. And I think I've even admitted, like, I don't even know what I was mad about sometimes. And then as I've thought my way through it, asked myself different questions, done work on myself, I've come to figure out oftentimes I wasn't necessarily even mad at the person. I was mad at myself. Mad at myself for maybe allowing myself to be open enough or care about somebody enough to let them impact me, to hold a level of, as a people pleaser, of trying to please them. Um, not being able to say no, even though you're old enough. As men, we all have that. There's that first time you always have to tell your parents no, or your father. Nope, I'm not listening to you. No, I don't want to do what you want me to do, or I don't think what you think is best for me is best for me. I need to do what I think is best for me. We all have that moment in some form or fashion. And when we can't do that, when we can't say no, when we can't stand up for ourselves, then yeah, it comes out as like we're mad at that person, but we're really mad at ourselves for not being strong enough, for not taking our own ownership, responsibility, accountability. It's your life. Um, and in that, if this resonates with you and you can see some of that in yourself, then let's take this consideration. I don't have siblings, so I don't know. But for those of you who have siblings, we're coming up on a holiday weekend. We're going to be with family. Maybe you get along, maybe you don't. The point is that we're damaged, we're broken, we've experienced trauma. our parents put some shit on us from their parents. They had shit put on them from their parents, be it beliefs, trauma, strictness, uh, things as simple as teasing them. You're fat, you're chubby, you're ugly, ugly duckling, or having a terrible nickname like Hispanics often do for their children, or, um, sometimes this ain't good fun, but I think long term it's damaging, and we know so much more and more than we've ever known in history. And you're starting to see that all that shit that was done to us probably wasn't the best. Rub some fucking dirt on it and get back in. We never learned anything on emotional regulation, um, the power of the brain. I mean, I had the big book of brain a long time ago. I always knew there was something more and thought there was something more, but unfortunately, the people around me or the adults running the show didn't. Nobody was probably thinking about that stuff in the 80s and 90s. And, um, we're coming out off the Vietnam War, peace, love, and this. And in came cocaine and neon colors and poison and Def Leppard and pour some sugar on me and men wearing colorful fucking tights and hairspray, all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, they weren't thinking about what we're saying, what we're learning, and all this, how it sinks into people, how it's going to affect people's self-esteem, and how it's going to, how all this translates into quote unquote mental health, mental illness. Nobody was thinking about that. The treatment for mental illness a long time ago was what they just fucking lock you up. I mean, not too far from where I live, there's a crazy hospital. Everybody's known about it forever. Everybody still knows about it. But, now we know more and now we have to do better. And so, kind of my point of that with Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and probably getting together with family and or loved ones is, just remember to let's show each other some grace, show each other some love. Let's understand that we're all kind of damaged goods. If you're siblings and maybe you don't get along the best, remember you probably had the same parents. And, you know, maybe I don't think one totally escapes the damage. Maybe it's just different, you know? Or just because one child was favored over another doesn't mean they don't have their own problems and issues as well. So I think it's like, hey, let's just meet each other where we are, show each other some grace, show each other some forgiveness, and remember, there's probably a couple of generations at the table that didn't know what they were doing, did their best. They were just doing probably opposite of what their parents did, you know? I think each generation as parents, we try to go, this is where my parents got it wrong. This is what hurt me. I don't want to do this to my children. And then we try to do it from there. And then who knows what we're giving them instead. We're probably giving them something undesirable that we can't see yet. But sometimes it's a pick your poison, kind of like a homeschool versus public school thing. Which is best. And if you go to one, you're probably going to be lacking in a few things. If you go to the other, you're going to be lacking in some things. And how do you make up? Um, you're not going to get it totally right all the way around with every decision. So it's really about the best decision. What's best for you at this time. But yeah, I think it's important to remember as we come together that there's a little room for that. And let's try not to fight. I would say avoid the alcohol if you can, because there's probably going to be a fight if there's alcohol. Drink responsibly if you do. If you're a person that can't drink, don't drink. I won't be drinking. So, um, but yeah, think of it as an individual point, um, but also think of it as it relates to you connecting with those around you as well. You know, it's about hope and rebirth. What is something that's not serving you, something you need to forgive and move past, be it with those around you, especially if they're family members, or maybe it's something with yourself. Maybe you need to forgive yourself for something and move on. Show yourself some love and grace. You're only human, you know. But maybe it's with someone else. I mean, that's why we've had Lent and these 40 days and 40 nights to think, to suffer some, to give up something, to maybe give up nothing, maybe to stumble and fail. But given the holiday, its representation, what it means, I'm a man of faith, so, you know, whether you're a person of faith or not, or just believe in, hey, karma, go out and be the person that you want to meet, You want good, be good. And so, I just ask that you try to move through the weekend with that kind of energy, that kind of grace, with that kind of love. And that way next Monday, maybe you can feel free and clear of some things that have been stifling your growth, blocking your energy. Because any of that produces a lot of emotion, hatred, pain, anger, yeah, it impacts you physiologically. I mean, anger raises your heart rate. It does all that. I mean, then your body has to recover from it. You want to die old because you're angry all the time. I mean, die young. But yeah, all these past experiences of taking care of people and family dynamics, people unwilling to help their own family members, et cetera, has shown me a lot about who I want to be, what I want to be about, and what I want the people around me and in my circle to be about. And those of you in my circle, thank you. I'm grateful. And yes, we are similar. And we have some similar values. And so, yeah, there's a conversation you've been waiting to have, a forgiveness one, or maybe you're the receiver. Maybe somebody needs to approach you and say, I'm sorry. But maybe there's something you can do to help facilitate that and create a safe space so they can do it because they also need to do it for them, you know? It's not just about you, it's about them too. So they can move past and feel good and, feel fulfilled on their journey because they're human just like you. They make mistakes, they feel shame, they feel regret, whether it's something stupid that came out of their mouth, something stupid they did, and some people never recover from that and never talk again. And it's sad. So don't be sad. Get out there, have some good energy, be forgiving, create opportunities for those who might need to get something off their chest, and just commune. And, enjoy the food, enjoy the Easter egg hunts, the stuff with children, and the connection with family and others, and even strangers. But remember at the end of the day, the true meaning of what we're experiencing here with Easter and whatnot. So, yeah, while you're out there this weekend, also, I do not know what Monday's going to bring. um, I don't have anyone to interview. I don't know if I'm going to take my stuff with me or not. If you've made it this far, you guys know this is my first time kind of going back out of town and getting to experience family kind of holiday event type things since the whole Buck thing, missing Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Eve, etc. So I'm not going to overly stress if I don't find anybody between Wednesday and Monday. If I need to knock out a solo one when we get home Sunday night, or even if I release one at noon or 6 p.m. on Monday, maybe I find somebody and interview Monday. Who knows? I don't know. I just ask that you guys offer me, extend me some of that same courtesy and grace. Be flexible, because I do want the consistency of Guest Monday, Unfiltered Fridays. But as we get back on track, things don't often move as fast as we want them to sometimes. And, you know, I would be what kind of person would I would be if I focused only on that instead of trying to be present and be with my family and really enjoying this time away and getting to see everybody. Especially they haven't seen me since I lost all my weight. We're taking the wife's new Cadillac down there. I mean, so it's exciting. A lot of excitement. And I want to be present. I want to enjoy that. If the universe, God, the podcast gods, if they send me somebody that aligns and I can interview, maybe I'll take my equipment with me. Probably a good idea. Be prepared. And who knows? We'll see. And maybe I just come home and record a solo Monday. I have no idea. And sometimes that's the beauty. And I'm not going to put any undue pressure on myself to make it a certain way. We're just going to ease into it and it's going to get there. But as you're out there this weekend, navigating the world, showing grace, creating opportunity for it, spreading love and understanding, connecting with one another. Just remember, go out and be the person that you would want to meet. All right, till next time. Peace.
Asteroid of fear.